And it's great to have all of you here. It's wonderful that so many of you joined early today. We got to chat and talk and bring things up that are happening in our world. And I'm sure some of that's going to be presented in what we're reading today because that's usually what happens. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. All right. Chapter 14, Section 11, the test of truth. Yet the essential thing is learning that you do not know. Knowledge is power, and all power is of God. You who have tried to keep power for yourself have lost it. You still have the power, but you have interposed so much between it and your awareness of it that you cannot use it. Everything you have taught yourself has made your power more and more obscure to you. You know not what it is, nor where. You've made a semblance of power and a show of strength so pitiful that it must fail you. For power is not a seeming strength, and strength is beyond semblance of any kind. Yet all that stands between you and the power of God in you is but your learning of the false and of your attempts to undo the true. Be willing, then, for all of it to be undone, and be glad that you are not bound to it forever. For you have taught yourself how to imprison the Son of God, a lesson so unthinkable that only the insane in deepest sleep could even dream of it. Can God learn how not to be God? And can his Son, given all power by him, learn to be powerless? What have you taught yourself that you can possibly prefer to keep in place of what you have and what you are? At one mint teaches you how to escape forever from everything that you have taught yourself in the past by showing you only what you are now. Learning has been accomplished before its effects are manifest. Learning is therefore in the past, but its influence determines the present by giving it whatever meaning it holds for you. Your learning gives the present no meaning at all. Nothing you have ever learned can help you understand the present or teach you how to undo the past. Your past is what you have taught yourself. Let it all go. Do not attempt to understand any event or anything or anyone in its light. For the darkness in which you try to see can only obscure. Put no confidence at all in darkness to illuminate your understanding. For if you do, you contradict the light and thereby think you see the darkness. Yet darkness cannot be seen, for it is nothing more than a condition in which seeing becomes impossible. You who have not yet brought all of the darkness you have taught yourself into the light in you can hardly judge the truth and value of this course. Yet God did not abandon you. And so you have another lesson sent from him, already learned for every child of light by him whom God gave it. This lesson shines with God's glory, for in it lies his power, which he shares so gladly with his Son. Learn of his happiness, which is yours. But to accomplish this, all your dark lessons must be brought willingly to truth and joyously laid down by hands open to receive, not closed to take. Every dark lesson that you bring to him who teaches light, he will accept from you because you do not want it. And he will gladly exchange each one for the bright lesson he has learned for you. Never believe that any lesson you have learned apart from him means anything. You have one test, as sure as God. by which to recognize if what you learned is true. If you are wholly free of fear of any kind, and if all those who meet or even think of you share in your perfect peace, then you can be sure that you have learned God's lesson and not your own. Unless all this is true, there are dark lessons in your mind that hurt and hinder you and everyone around you. The absence of perfect peace means but one thing. You think you do not will for God's Son what his Father wills for him. Every dark lesson teaches this in one form or another, and each bright lesson with which the Holy Spirit will replace the dark ones you do not accept teaches you that you will with the Father and his Son. Do not be concerned about how you can learn a lesson so completely different from everything that you have taught yourself. How would you know? Your part is very simple. You need only recognize that everything you learned, you do not want. Ask to be taught, and do not use your experiences to confirm what you have learned. When your peace is threatened or disturbed in any way, say to yourself, I do not know what anything, including this, means, and so I do not know how to respond to it. And I will not use my own past learning as the light to guide me now. By this refusal to attempt to teach yourself what you do not know, the guide whom God has given you will speak to you. He will take his rightful place in your awareness the instant you abandoned it and offer it to him. You cannot be your guide to miracles, for it is you who made them necessary. And because you did, the means on which you can depend for miracles has been provided for you. God's Son can make no needs his Father will not meet, if he but turn to him ever so little. Yet he cannot compel his Son to turn to him and remain himself. It is impossible that God lose his identity, for if he did, you would lose yours. And being yours, he cannot change himself, for your identity is changeless. The miracle acknowledges his changelessness by seeing his Son as he always was, and not as he would make himself. The miracle brings the effects that only guiltlessness can bring, and thus establishes the fact that guiltlessness must be. How can you, so firmly bound to guilt and committed so to remain, establish for yourself your guiltlessness? That is impossible. But be sure that you are willing to acknowledge that it is impossible. It is only because you think that you can run some little part or deal with certain aspects of your life alone that the guidance of the Holy Spirit is limited. Thus would you make him undependable and use this fancied undependability as an excuse for keeping certain dark lessons from him. And by so limiting the guidance that you would accept, you're unable to depend on miracles to answer all your problems for you. Do you think that what the Holy Spirit would have you give, he would withhold from you? You have no problems that he cannot solve by offering you a miracle. Miracles are for you, and every fear or pain or trial you have has been undone. He has brought all of them to light, having accepted them instead of you and recognized they never were. There are no dark lessons he has not already lightened for you. The lessons he would teach yourself, he has corrected already. They do not exist in his mind at all, for the past binds him not, and therefore binds not you. He does not see time as you do. And each miracle he offers you corrects your use of time and makes it his. He who has freed you from the past would teach you are free of it. He would but have you accept his accomplishments as yours because he did them for you. And because he did, they are yours. He has made you free of what you made. You can deny him, but you cannot call on him in vain. He always gives his gifts in place of yours. He would establish his bright teaching so firmly in your mind that no dark lesson of guilt can abide in what he has established as holy by his presence. Thank God that he is there and works through you, and all his works are yours. He offers you a miracle with every one you let him do through you. God's Son will always be indivisible. As we are held as one in God, so do we learn as one in him. God's teacher is as like to his creator as is his Son, and through his teacher does God proclaim his oneness and his Son's. Listen in silence and do not raise your voice against him, for he teaches the miracle of oneness, and before his lesson, division disappears. Teach like him here, and you will remember that you have always created like your Father. The miracle of creation has never ceased, having the holy stamp of immortality upon it. This is the will of God for all creation, and all creation joins in willing this. Those who remember always that they know nothing and who have become willing to learn everything will learn it. Whenever they trust themselves, they will not learn. They have destroyed their motivation for learning by thinking they already know. Think not you understand anything until you pass the test of perfect peace. For peace and understanding go together and never can be found alone. Each brings the other with it, for it is the law of God. They be not separate. They are cause and effect, each to the other. So where one is absent, the other cannot be. Only those who recognize they cannot know unless the effects of understanding are with them can they really learn it all. For this, it must be peace they want and nothing else. Whenever you think you know, peace will depart from you because you have abandoned the teacher of peace. Whenever you fully realize that you know not, peace will return, for you will have invited him to do so by abandoning the ego on behalf of him. Call not upon the ego for anything. It is only this that you need do. The Holy Spirit will, of himself, fill every mind that so makes room for him. If you want peace, you must abandon the teacher of attack. The teacher of peace will never abandon you. You can desert him, but he will never reciprocate, for his faith in you is his understanding. It is as firm as is his faith in his Creator, and he knows that faith in his Creator must encompass faith in his creation. In this consistency lies his holiness, which he cannot abandon, for it is not his will to do so. With your perfection ever in his sight, he gives the gift of peace to everyone who perceives the need for peace and who would have it. Make way for peace, and it will come. For understanding is in you, and from it, peace must come. The power of God from which they both arise is yours as surely as it is his. You think you know him not, only because alone it is impossible to know him. You see the mighty works that he will do through you, and you must be convinced you did them through him. It is impossible to deny the source of effects, so powerful they could not be of you. Leave room for him, and you will find yourself so filled with power that nothing will prevail against your peace. And this will be the test by which you recognize that you have understood. Whew, there's a lot in there. I feel like that answered our question about our children, right, Lynn?
Hmm.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
I think it answers the question about everything. It's the most, for me, it's the most powerful thing because it basically says we quest to understand. And it's like, show me, prove to me, so that I know the whole thing as you know it, God, and then I will basically pledge myself. Then I will take the leap. And it says no, because that's not how spirit works. We acknowledge that we, coming from a separated viewpoint, if you will, we cannot know the wholeness from that perspective. So when we lay down that need to know, we are gifted the exact thing that we were thought we had to seek, because it is us to begin with. So we lay down the separation, and what we then experience is that wholeness, and that gives us the trust and safety to know that we will know what we need to know when we need to know it. And so then we know the secret. It's been revealed to us. But the whole time we are stubborn about it and say, I have to know first, we cannot know, because we're actually doing the opposite of God's plan, if you will, of the flow of the cosmos, of the communed nature.
thank you for sharing that, Mary.
Hmm.
I also found a lot of this, when you try to look at your past and learn what you've, see what you've learned from your past, to go forward. And this is saying, don't do that. Don't use your past learning to basically, project onto your future. Just give it to the Holy Spirit. Allow the miracle that is there for you always. Just ask again and again and again. This holy instant I give to you. Be you in charge. Don't use your past experiences. And I think that speaks to me also because I have adult children. And in our mind, we're like, well, this didn't work out for me in my past. So I want to share this with you and make you understand this isn't going to work out for you in your future, right?
Hmm.
But instead, we have to remember just to give it to the Holy Spirit and allow the miracle to come through us, because time is not as we know it. And if we allow the miracle to come through us, time can be rearranged so that the miracle just ends up becoming what it's meant to be, the miracle, right? We have in our mind, well, I have to do this and I have to do this, going back to being a codependent, right? A highly functioning codependent. I was talking to Agnes about that earlier. Well, if I do this and I do this and I get this right, then this will work and then I can fix this other thing. Instead, allow the miracle to come through and just say, I have this issue, right? I'm going to give this to you, Holy Spirit, and you be you in charge. And then quiet your mind and listen for the word, right? The right word, the right thing. And the right word might be you need do nothing, which is so often true in my case when I've done that. And that's the miracle, right? It's not mine to fix. Okay. All right. And then the weight of the world goes off your shoulders. You no longer are carrying it.
already. So, what I gathered from this section of the chapter is first, all of us at whatever age we are, we already have a lot of learning and formation and conditioning that we are so set in. So now teaching myself new things, or to conduct myself in a different way is a pretty difficult task. Not impossible, but difficult. So what I understood is that the power is the knowledge from God, from the Holy Spirit. And there is in me a need to know. Okay. And most of the time, my need to know is what will happen. And probably that need in me is because I want to have some control, some preparation, so that I can handle it better. Then another thing what I understood is that also there is a seeking in me for perfect peace. And that peace comes by understanding, as it was said in these pages. And I was asking myself what that understanding is. What do I have to understand? Understand myself, understand others, or understand the body of knowledge and experience. Oh, so that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. And in the
Well,
very first, go ahead, Scott.
my thought on that is that my understanding comes from the message from the Holy Spirit. So um, it's an interesting letting go. I feel it every moment from the ego, thinking that I know this, I know that. But the Course does say that knowledge is only from God. We perceive, but the ultimate knowledge is in God. And so, I certainly uh, um, have not mastered this, and I think I don't know that I ever fully will, because I continue to take back control, can take back control. But at least now I know that that's the ego. And so the more I let go, the more I do feel a sense of peace and even wonder that things then unfold in a way that I wouldn't have anticipated.
A few phrases from the Christian Bible of I leave you peace, my peace I give you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is the peace that surpasses all understanding. And I think understanding that phrase, that it surpasses all understanding, is the key to peace. Just letting that be your guide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to also point out a couple of things that we read. One was in paragraph 1, and it's sentence 5. Everything you have taught yourself has made your power more and more obscure to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then also in paragraph 2, for you have taught yourself how to imprison the Son of God, a lesson so unthinkable that only the insane in deep sleep could even dream of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in paragraph 3, your past is what you have taught yourself. Let it all go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do not attempt to understand any event or anything or anyone in its light, for the darkness in which you try to see can only obscure. And then it goes back to paragraph 5. You have one test. If you are wholly free of fear of any kind, and if all those who meet or even think of you share in your perfect peace, then you can be sure you have learned God's lesson and not your own. Right? And I think that we're so attached to our conditioning of learning, right? Well, I've learned so much to get me where I am today. I've built this home, I've raised my children, I've put them through college, I've made all this money, I've created friendships, and I've learned how to be, loving and peaceful and all these things. And that's all been part of the journey. But now the lesson is now give everything to the Holy Spirit. Now that you're at this point, give everything to the Holy Spirit and see where you can go from here, right? And now there's a whole new lesson to be learned, a whole plethora of miracles to accept. It's not to say that all of your past learning has been in vain. It's to say now you've arrived at this point where now you're ready to ask the Holy Spirit for help. You're willing to take that next step and let it all go.
Yeah, working with elderly, I have seen when they start giving away their things.
Mm,
So how I have seen is at one time in their life, acquiring those things was an achievement.
right?
And now giving those things away is an achievement.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I can transfer that to the knowledge that we acquired earlier.
Was an achievement.
Yeah, and now giving it
Giving it
away.
away is an achievement, right? Having
Mhm.
the trust and the faith that, okay, we're at a place now where we're ready to take that next step and give it away and trust that the miracles will come through because we're having faith in that power of the Holy Spirit. Right.
Well, again, understanding that everything is sort of, you don't lose anything by letting these things come through you. So the act of giving it away is kind of a misuse of the words in terms of away. We are just giving. And when we give, we receive. So we don't have to, we think of everything as a certain form. So yeah, I gave away my favorite teapot, but I didn't give away the teapot. I gave away a loving gesture. And what I received was love, perhaps in a different form. What I received was lightness or freedom or the warm feeling that I got from seeing a smile. When it comes in all the different ways. And so it's the openness to not be so attached to a particular form, but to understand what's underneath that. And so I've found myself in a giving away most of what I have acquired at this point, and I'm not even quite 70, but I decided I wanted to do it while I was, healthy and into it and could just, receive those gifts in other ways. It doesn't erase. It's not a lesser than. I haven't lost anything. All the memories of the things I still have, but if I'm not using them anymore, why not let someone else enjoy the use of it? And so it's that way of thinking about all things.
That was a big part of today's lesson 187, that never forget you give but to yourself. Give gladly, the thought remains and grows in strength as it is reinforced by giving. No one can give unless he has. Ideas must first belong to you before you give them. Yeah.
I think
Man.
that there is a there may be a correlation between what our mind wants to do and what our intuitive self coming from our heart is guiding us to do. One is ego, and the other one is the miracle. Sometimes we're driven to a place without us even knowing that we're being driven there by something that's beyond us. There's a synchronicity there. It's happened to me recently, where I was going to a game. I had to let go of the people I was with because I wanted to go back to my car to make sure that it was locked. And in the process, this gentleman, this older gentleman, asked me if the game had started, did they have the fireworks yet? And I was like, no, no. And then he said, do you mind if I walk with you to the stadium? And I was like, sure. And the walk from there to the stadium was like, he told me almost everything that was happening to him. And I'm just listening, thinking to myself, because even right then and there, I was like, what is going on? You know, what's going on with this? What am I supposed to be learning from this thing here that I just got taken off my course of going to watch the game and the fireworks and all of that? Anyway, to make a long story short, I'm still befuddled by it because I
It
still am
doesn't
asking,
matter.
what is that message?
It really doesn't
Well,
matter.
it matters to me because I'm next something. So I'm thinking everything that you guys have said talks to me about that. I hear everything that everybody has mentioned about what this thing is talking about makes me think that, or it made me real. That scenario came back that I did something that was beyond my mind and just following my heart to from make sure my doors were locked, which was some menial thing. Coming across this person, very older man, 88. I can't even begin to tell you the conversation because it was just so brief and yet so powerful. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. The mind, the heart, intuition, the miracle.
Yeah, I think it goes back to we can't go to that one at one mint by ourselves. We have to go with all of our brothers, right? And so all of our
Mhm.
brothers give us opportunities, right? To like the gentleman that you're walking with gave you an opportunity to see the Christ in him, to become one with him on that walk back to the stadium.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I said, have you seen the movie yet? The Spielberg movie,
Yes.
Disclosure.
Disclosure? Yeah,
Yes.
I
Has
saw
anybody
it.
seen it? There's a
Eh,
section in there where they're doing things, and he keeps saying, "I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this." You remember
right.
those parts?
What's the name of the movie?
Disclosure.
Disclosure Day.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think it's just part one. It's definitely leading to a part two. All
Especially with
right.
just the last word of the whole movie, right?
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. Well, I'm done.
Are we ready to get into the next chapter, or do
Uh,
we still have things we want to discuss about chapter 14?
I think we're ready.
Okay, chapter 15, the holy instant. Let's go. The holy instant, section 1, the two uses of time. Can you imagine what it means to have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time? Yet that is what time is for, to learn just that and nothing more. God's teacher cannot be satisfied with his teaching until it constitutes all your learning. He's not fulfilled his teaching function until you have become such a consistent learner that you learn only of him. When this has happened, you will no longer need a teacher or time in which to learn. One source of perceived discouragement from which you may suffer is your belief that this takes time and that the results of the Holy Spirit's teaching are far in the future. This is not so, for the Holy Spirit uses time in his own way and is not bound by it. Time is his friend in teaching. It does not waste him as it does you. And all the waste that time seems to bring with it is due but to your identification with the ego, which uses time to support its belief in destruction. The ego, like the Holy Spirit, uses time to convince you of the inevitability of the goal and the end of teaching. To the ego, the goal is death, which is its end. But to the Holy Spirit, the goal is life, which has no end. The ego is an ally of time, but not a friend, for it is as mistrustful of death as it is of life. And what it wants for you, it cannot tolerate. The ego wants you dead, but not itself. The outcome of its strange religion must therefore be the conviction that it can pursue you beyond the grave. And out of its unwillingness for you to find peace even in death, it offers you immortality in hell. It speaks to you of heaven, but assures you that heaven is not for you. How can the guilty hope for heaven? The belief in hell is inescapable to those who identify with the ego. Their nightmares and their fears are all associated with it. The ego teaches that hell is in the future, for this is what all its teaching is directed to do. Hell is its goal. For although the ego aims at death and dissolution as an end, it does not believe it. The goal of death, which it craves for you, leaves it unsatisfied. No one who follows the ego's teaching is without the fear of death. Yet if death were thought of merely as an end to pain, would it be feared? We have seen this strange paradox in the ego's thought system before, but never so clearly as here. For the ego must seem to keep fear from you to hold your allegiance. Yet it must engender fear in order to maintain itself. Again, the ego tries and all too frequently succeeds in doing both by using dissociation for holding its contradictory aims together so that they seem to be reconciled. The ego teaches thus: death is the end, as far as hope of heaven goes. Yet because you and the ego cannot be separated, and because it cannot conceive of its own death, it will pursue you still. Because guilt is eternal. Such is the ego's version of immortality. And it is this the ego's version of time supports. The ego teaches that heaven is here and now, because the future is hell. Even when it attacks so savagely that it tries to take the life of someone who thinks its is the only voice. It speaks of hell even to him, for it tells him hell is here as well, and bids him leap from hell into oblivion. The only time the ego allows anyone to look upon with equanimity is the past. And even there, its only value is that it is no more. How bleak and despairing is the ego's use of time, and how terrifying! For underneath its fanatical insistence that the past and future be the same is hidden a far more insidious threat to peace. The ego does not advertise its final threat, for it would have its worshippers still believe that it can offer them escape. But the belief in guilt must lead to the belief in hell. and always does. The only way in which the ego allows the fear of hell to be experienced is to bring hell here, but always as a foretaste of the future. For no one who considers himself as deserving of hell can believe that punishment will end in peace. The Holy Spirit teaches thus: there is no hell. Hell is only what the ego has made of the present. The belief in hell is what prevents you from understanding the present, because you are afraid of it. The Holy Spirit leads as steadily to heaven as the ego drives to hell. For the Holy Spirit, who knows only the present, uses it to undo the fear by which the ego would make the present useless. There is no escape from fear in the ego's use of time. For time, according to its teaching, is nothing but a teaching device for compounding guilt until it becomes all-encompassing, demanding vengeance forever. The Holy Spirit would undo all of this now. Fear is not of the present, but only of the past and future, which do not exist. There is no fear in the present, when each instant stands clear and separated from the past, without its shadow reaching out into the future. Each instant is a clean, untarnished birth, in which the Son of God emerges from the past into the present. And the present extends forever. It is so beautiful and so clean and free of guilt that nothing but happiness is there. No darkness is remembered, and immortality and joy are now. This lesson takes no time. For what is time without a past and a future? It has taken place to misguide you so completely. It has taken time to misguide you so completely, but it takes no time at all to be what you are. Begin to practice the Holy Spirit's use of time as a teaching aid to happiness and peace. Take this very instant now and think of it as all there is of time. Nothing can reach you here out of the past. And it is here that you are completely absolved, completely free, and wholly without condemnation. From this holy instant, wherein holiness was born, again, you will go forth in time without fear and with no sense of change with time. Time is inconceivable without change, yet holiness does not change. Learn from this instant more than merely that hell does not exist. In this redeeming instant lies heaven, and heaven will not change, for the birth into the holy present is salvation from change. Change is an illusion taught by those who cannot see themselves as guiltless. There is no change in heaven because there is no change in God. In the holy instant in which you see yourself as bright with freedom, you will remember God, for remembering Him is to remember freedom. If you are tempted to be dispirited by thinking how long it would take to change your mind so completely, ask yourself, how long is an instant? Could you not give so short a time to the Holy Spirit for your salvation? He asks no more, for he has no need of more. It takes far longer to teach you to be willing to give him this than for him to use this tiny instant to offer you the whole of heaven. In exchange for this instant, he stands ready to give you the remembrance of eternity. You will never give this holy instant to the Holy Spirit on behalf of your release, while you are unwilling to give it to your brothers on behalf of theirs. For the instant of holiness is shared and cannot be yours alone. Remember then, when you are tempted to attack a brother, that his instant of release is yours. Miracles are the instants of release you offer and will receive. They attest to your willingness to be released and to offer time to the Holy Spirit for His use of it. How long is an instant? It is as short for your brother as it is for you. Practice giving this blessed instant of freedom to all who are enslaved by time, and thus make time their friend for them. The Holy Spirit gives their blessed instant to you through your giving it. As you give it, He offers it to you. Be not unwilling to give what you would receive of Him, for you join with Him in giving. In the crystal cleanness of your release, you give is your instantaneous escape from guilt. You must be holy if you offer holiness. How long is an instant? As long as it takes to reestablish perfect sanity, perfect peace, and perfect love for everyone, for God, and for yourself. As long as it takes to remember immortality and your immortal creations who share it with you. As long as it takes to exchange hell for heaven. Long enough to transcend all of the ego's making and ascend unto your Father. Time is your friend, if you leave it to the Holy Spirit to use. He needs but very little to restore God's whole power to you. He who transcends time for you understands what time is for. Holiness lies not in time, but in eternity. There never was an instant in which God's Son could lose his purity. His changeless state is beyond time, for his purity remains forever, beyond attack and without variability. Time stands still in his holiness and changes not. And so it is no longer time at all, for caught in the single instant of the eternal sanctity of God's creation, it is transformed into forever. Give the eternal instant, that eternity may be remembered for you. In that shining instant of perfect release, offer the miracle of the holy instant through the Holy Spirit, and leave His giving it to you, to Him. All right. That's interesting about time, because as I was reading that, I was thinking, here we are thinking that, or maybe possibly believing in past lives and what will I come back in my next life? Well, and I've said to myself, in my next life, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and this is going to be different. And that's just another part of the ego making you believe in hell, right? Because you're still buying into the separation and the illusion and all of the things within the ego's version of hell. Even if he tries to make it look like peace in heaven, it's still part of the separation.
Mm. Yeah.
I have a question. Like two uses of time. So in my head, there is a number, one and two.
Okay. So the two uses of time, I think it was saying the ego uses time to make you believe in death, to make you fear hell, to continue your attachment to time as being part of this construct of this earthly, worldly experience, right? So that's one use of time. Like it's forever. It's gonna keep going and going and going, but you're really in hell, right? Because you're not happy, you're struggling, you've got anxiety, you're not in that place of perfect peace, right? And the Holy Spirit uses time to say, the only time is now in this instant where there's no past and there is no future. And this instant extends forever. So if you can, in this instant, embrace that you are part of the one mind of God and in that place of at one mint with all of your brothers, right? Because they all have to be in the circle, right? For you to be in the circle, they all have to be there with you. And if you can embrace that sense of perfect peace and oneness in this instant where there is no time, but that extends forever and ever into eternity, right? I think that is the other use of time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helped me a
I,
lot too.
Yeah.
yeah,
think
I
that,
also think, oh, go ahead, Scott.
okay, that instant really is very important to me because it means all else gets let go in my mind, and I am just right here. And if I am right here, I'm able to tap into my desire. It's a desire to spread love to you in the name of the Holy Spirit. So I am the vehicle for the Holy Spirit. And we've talked about all of that, to extend ourselves. And so I find if I do that in the present, I can be much more pure in that uh, effort.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, is a great book.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
funny. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it right now, and the
Yeah.
Power of Now right across my desk,
Right.
Uh-huh.
and it's on my
Uh-huh.
list to read. But it made me think of that. The Power of Right
Mm-hmm.
Now. It's all we have.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Mm-hmm.
that was my launch book. That's what got me into all this. But I want my concept of time is that if life is eternal, and I really embrace what eternal means, it's beyond my limited concept. But because it's beyond that, when we are limited, we are very then time conscious. Like, I only have a maximum of 100 years, and that's from the time I was conceived. And so now I only have, let's say 30 years left at the most. And, what do I do with that? And how do I make my mark on the world and blah, blah, blah. All the story around it. But when I realized that life is eternal, then my whole life actually can be that holy instant. Because what's an instant in eternity? It's what's 100 years in eternity? Nothing but a blip. And so
Yes.
now I can, for me anyway, in my thought process, now I can totally relax about time. And just when I relax about it, I'm very present to what's going on right now, because that is the only time that's important, because I don't need to worry about eternity.
And just
I
for
like,
reference, go ahead.
oh, I just like that you said relaxed, we'd be relaxed about time, because what also goes along with helps me be relaxed about time is to be relaxed in my body. Like when I'm meditating and when I get to that holy instant, having a relaxed body also helps that a lot. I can check
That's my
myself.
point. Yeah, that's my point, is that peace, the state of peace, is relaxed.
Yes.
So we can understand one as being, really identical to the other through that. And so as we change our beliefs, if you will, according to the flow of life, we recognize when we are not relaxed. when we are in the state of consternation and therefore not communed with spirit. And so just to have that be your focus, if you will, and allowing your body to tell you whether you are or aren't.
Great points on relaxation. Thanks, guys. I also pulled up the glossary, which I like to refer to from time to time. And this is what it has to say about time. An integral part of the ego's illusory world of separation, in contrast to eternity, which exists only in heaven. While time appears to be linear, it is all contained in a tiny instant that has already been corrected and undone by the Holy Spirit, and in truth, never happened at all. In the wrong mind, time is the means of maintaining the ego by preserving the sins of the past through guilt, projected by fear of punishment in the future, and overlooking the present, which is the closest approximation to eternity. And in the right mind, time is the means of undoing the ego by forgiving the past through the holy instant, the medium of miracles when forgiveness is complete, and the world of time has fulfilled the Holy Spirit's purpose and will simply disappear. And I think the funny part about it is that is most often my experience in reading that, because I've been reading this for so long, is that the ego gets engaged, right? Disappear? What? I'm going to disappear? I don't want to believe in that. I don't want the holy instant. I'm going to continue in this illusion of time, right?
That is the ego. I mean, and that is continuously, you know, coming to me when I escape from that.
Right. And it's interesting because I can ruminate on what I've experienced up to this point, as we talked about earlier, everything we've learned up to this point, where now we understand, give it to the Holy Spirit, right? And I can ruminate on, well, I've learned about my past. I've learned about other people's past lives. I've learned about future lives and alternate realities and alternate possibilities of life and other dimensions, right? Which is all part of the ego going and extending time and extending time and extending time. Because the Course in Miracles at one point says, well, is it right to talk about reincarnation? And the Course in Miracles says it's not that it's right or wrong, but talking about it is not going to help you, because again, it's just perpetuating the dream, right? Let's keep perpetuating this dream. And then the ego automatically goes, but I want the dream. It could be so much fun to have all these lifetimes, right? And the Holy Spirit saying, but you're still not going to get that peace. You're still not going to have that peace that just comes from being in that place of at one mint, right? So it's trusting that the peace and being in that place of eternal light and love is a better alternative to being attached and aligned with the ego, which is making all these promises of past lives and future lives, which can be better and more abundant and all these other things. Yeah.
And I want to say thank you for the way you emphasized the, like, I don't want to disappear kind of thing, because we get attached to words and language, and our language is based on separation. So we talk about something that actually is communion and, mutual respect, support, all of those other words. It's like melding as if you're in a choir and you are lending your voice to the benefit of creating a new thing, a new whole that sounds gorgeous. We willingly give that. It's not that we have lost it, we still retain it, but it's our choice to commune. And that's the difference. And that word brings up a whole fear thing, which is what the ego basically wants, because it's based on separation, and therefore so is our language. So when you hear a word that doesn't resonate with you as the truth of God, change the word. Look at the meaning.
Yeah, great point. Thanks, Mary.
Mhm.
Yeah, anybody else have any burning shares they'd like to add to the conversation? All right,
I
well,
would
I've got
just say in closing that I can look for the holy instant. I can be vigilant for the holy instant, and then it will come to me more often.
yes.
Mhm, mhm,
I love that. Thanks, Scott. That's
mhm,
so
mhm,
true, right?
mhm, mhm,
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's the work to be done. Until
mhm,
next week, enjoy that holy instant.
mhm,
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. Wonderful conversation again today. We will see you next week.
Thank
mhm.
you.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.